Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of The 1517 to Paris. Clint Eastwood gets back into the director's chair to tell a true-life story of three Americans who, along with several other passengers, help to take down a terrorist before he is able to unleash complete tragedy on a train heading into France. And I have to say I was intrigued. The story obviously is very interesting and very inspirational. However, I was also a little bit worried because we were getting an Americans Save the Day in Foreign Lands film from Clint Eastwood. And that's the part that kind of scared me a little because Clint Eastwood very much likes to go into America territory. And I didn't think we needed that necessarily. However, to my shock, it wasn't America that really derailed this movie because I don't know that it ever actually got onto the right track. Unfortunately, this movie isn't good. And I had to stop and think of, how am I going to do this review respectfully? Because if I'm being honest, this film is nearly unwatchable. That's how poorly made it is. But let's go ahead and talk about the positives. The biggest positive is the source material, is the true story itself. Are these heroes that were civilians at the time? They were civilian passengers who helped take down a terrorist. This is a great story. This is a prime story to tell. And it's one that needs to be heard. I think it is definitely a smaller, heroic tale that has a good message of if you see something, do something. And that's a great message that should be shared. So I commend them for picking this story to tell and getting that message out of it. And I also think it was very restrained when it came to the pro-America type business. There's even a joke at Americans' expense of, y'all can't take credit all the time for everything that happens in the world. Although that joke is played with a little bit of irony. But unfortunately, that's literally where the positives end. This film was just so shoddily made. And the complete buck starts and stops with Clint Eastwood as a producer and the director here. He made the choice to seek out the real-life heroes and have them star in this film. These men aren't actors, have no acting experience, and unfortunately, it really shows in this film. And I am not going to blame them. They're not actors, and they were asked to do this. They were asked to be a part of telling their own story, so of course they're going to accept. And I have every faith that they did the best they could, but this is a feature film and they're not professional actors. So the blame falls on Clint Eastwood. It definitely was intended as a nice show of respect to these men since they're alive. This is a very recent event. Let them be a part of telling their story to the world. However, ultimately I think it's a mistake because they are front and center, central to this film, and they just aren't up to par on what you'd expect going in to see an actual Hollywood production. So I think it puts them in a precarious situation where they're being judged and they are being criticized on something that they're not trained in, that they aren't. They're not actors, and now they're being judged as actors. And it's not a great result, and I think it was a mistake to go that route. But honestly, none of the other actors are very good either. Judy Greer is in here. She's not delivering anything. So the people who actually are actors don't do anything to show them up. In comparison, they're actually kind of making these guys look good because these pros who do this all the time also are not good. But looking past the acting, in particular when it relates to these three gentlemen, you can forgive them for not being great and for them being in the film and that decision being made. It could have still been a really good film. It is just not well made, plain and simple. First of all, it looks ugly. It is shot very, very ugly. I don't know what the resolution on the camera was, but it doesn't look like a professional film in the slightest. It feels like something you'd see on true TV. It just is so grainy. The picture is never bright. It is never crisp. The editing is so strange. The shot selection is just very, very weird. There are sequences where we literally say the type of gelato we're ordering. They cut to a hand scooping that type of gelato, cut back. It is just very rudimentary shot selection and directing and editing. And then we get to the sound design, which is horrible. It's so much awkward voiceover on the actors. It sounds just bad through and through. And all of this is punctuated by the fact that we're telling a story that takes place in just a little bit of time, and we're stretching it to 2 hours long. And we're given this weird narrative where we start out from the beginning and we go back and we see them as kids. He tries to do a little bit of like the Sully feature, in which that also takes place in a tiny amount of time, but they stretch it out, where we're kind of shooting back and forth between the event we all came to see as well as some backstory or some other part of their life. And sometimes it worked okay, but for the most part it's just like, oh my gosh, we're going along with these little adventures and we're getting all of this story that really feels unnecessary. We're getting shots of literal wheels on a suitcase on hitting stairs as it comes down. Just like insane, weird, ridiculous shots are happening here. And it's paced so lazily that once we actually do get to the big like action sequence, the big sequence of heroism that we came to partake in, it's not exciting. It is as poorly shot, edited, and made as the rest of the film. So again, I really regret having to say what I've said in this review. I respect these men. I highly respect and am thankful for what they did and for saving lives and for the courage that they displayed. But they deserved a better film than this. They deserved Clint Eastwood at his peak, not Clint Eastwood in 2018 doing whatever this was. I mean, this was bad. This is by far the worst thing I've ever seen Clint Eastwood direct, and I mean, you're 87 years old now, maybe it's time to hang it up, because if this is the type of material you're going to produce, I don't know. But as I said, it's just so poorly made that it was almost unwatchable. Like, it is just really, really not good. So I say look for a documentary. Find videos and interviews from these men, from other people. Do your own research and understand the sacrifice and the courage that went into this event. I am sure there is so much great material out there about this heroic event. Unfortunately, the feature-length Hollywood production that they were offered is not part of that great material. So for quality reasons, I think you can completely pass this up and go find better material suited for this. But if you're really curious, give this a rental or watch it for free on TV. It is not up to theatrical standards. So that is my review of the 1517 to Paris. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see the 1517 to Paris, or have you already seen it? If you did, what did you think of the film? Let me know either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!